Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Memoir of My Banking Journey by Mr. V.H. Ramakrishnan, retired General Manager of Bank of India. Episode number 32. The chapter My Experiences as a Branch Manager is completed and a new chapter as a banking journey begins. The link of the earlier episodes is available in the description. A banking journey begins. Preamble. Was Bank of India my first job? The answer is yes and no. Yes, in the sense that BOI was my first employer who paid me a salary. No, in the sense that I practiced for a while as a chartered accountant. I had also worked as an industrial trainee with Sundaram Clayton Limited during the last 4 months of my CA course, which did not get any remuneration. Let us go back 51 years in time. After passing my CA examination in 1964 and completing my articleship in January 1965, I joined my friend PR Venkatachalam and started practice as chartered accountants. We had done our articleship in the firm of S. Vishwanathan from 1960 onwards. We started our practice in a chemical godown in Condi Chetty Street at Paris Corner, Madras. The place belonged to Venkatachalam's uncle. We made a small partition and shared a table, but the partition could not prevent the chemical smell from entering our cabin. Initially, it was difficult, then we got used to it. The first was named Venkatachalam and Ramakrishnan. Venkatachalam belonged to a well known family in Mylapore. He had a lot of uncles and cousins. His grandfather, P.R. Sundaram Iyer, was one of the first judges of the Madras High Court. My connection to get client was limited to my uncle V.R. Sivaraman, who about whom I had mentioned earlier. We decided to draw money from our income only to meet conveyance and other office expenses. Practice picked up fairly well. Both our relatives helped us with new clients. One of Venkatachalam's friends, Mr. Srinivasan, was a lawyer working with King and Partridge in the same street. He used to call on us, often make fun of us, calling us Lam and Nun. Srinivasan later joined the government of India and reached a top position. He became a member of Tribunal for Customs and Excise. Surprisingly, he kept in touch with us. I used to meet him in Delhi and then in Mumbai. After a few months, I felt uncomfortable in practice due to the following reasons. First, I realized that I did not have the aptitude for practice, found it uncomfortable standing outside the income tax officer's room. Second, I hail from a middle class family. Even though my father was working as superintendent of post offices, we found it difficult every month to make both ends meet. My mother was always hoping that I would draw a fat salary and her budgeting problems would be over. However, she and my father gave me full freedom to do what I wanted. Still, in a corner of my mind, I felt that I was letting them down. After about 6 to 7 months of practice, I discussed with Venkatachalam about my desire to quit practice. He agreed with me and he also decided to call it quits. We decided to try jobs in the private sector. Interviews. Before I write about my interview with Bank of India, I would like to narrate about other interviews. While doing CA, Venkatachalam and I decided that we would not apply for a job with any tobacco company like ITC. It was a matter of personal belief. I ignored the advertisements of ITC. True, though the terms were very lucrative. I always remember the first interview which took place even before I started in practice. In those days, joining Hindustan Liver was the dream for many newly qualified CAs. I used to read the chairman's speech every year. They were very educative. Each year, different topic would be covered. So when Hindustan Liver called for applications for management trainees, I applied immediately. I was delighted when I got a letter asking me to appear for an interview. I was asked to meet one Dr. Paul, a psychologist, That was the style of HL. I was to meet him at Hotel Connemara, the only five-star hotel at Madras in those days. When I entered the hotel and made inquiries at the reception, they directed me to go to his room. I did not see anyone else waiting for interview. When I reached the room, Dr. Paul opened the door. He was wearing a t-shirt and invited me inside the room. Still no other candidate. I then realized he would have given different timings for different applicants. After some formal questions, he asked me one question. That question and my answer I would never forget. The question was very simple. Have you applied to any other company? I hesitated for a few seconds to answer that question. The fact was, I had applied. But I thought, foolishly, if I say so, I might lose the opportunity. So I replied, no, I have not. With that, I blew up my chances of joining HL. I forgot for a moment that I was talking to a psychologist. I got a regret letter from HL within a week. It was a bitter lesson for me. It took a long time for me to get over that. My next interview with Carborundum in Universal at their factory in Tiruvuttiur in Madras. It was a Murugappa group company. There were two stages of interviews on the same day. In between, they gave me food lunch. I only remember the lunch. Here again, I did not get selected. The above interviews took place before we started the practice. After we closed the practice, I informed my uncle Mr. V.R. Shivaraman, who was the managing director of Wheels India Limited. One good thing about him was that he would not start giving a long lecture or advice. He was a man of action. Within a week, he called me and told me that he was in Mumbai and met Mr. Kapoor, owner of Ritz Group of Hotels, and that he was willing to take me on a salary of rupees 1,000 per month. But I should move to Mumbai. That was a handsome offer. But I politely declined the offer as I did not want to work in a hotel. At that time, my choice was for a manufacturing industry. He did not try to convince me. A few days later, he asked me to go for an interview with Brakes India Limited, another TVS unit. I was interviewed by one Mr. Lakshminarayan, chief accountant. It was not a tough interview, but somehow he did not select me. My uncle then told me that he had a talk with Mr. T.A. Santanam, son of T.V. Sundaram Iyengar. Boss and classmate of my uncle, Mr. Santanam, knew my father also very well. He immediately offered me to take me as a sales manager in Madras Auto Service Limited, who was selling auto parts. In fact, my uncle started his career with TVS from that position. He also promised that within a couple of years he would make me the manager of the company and later shift me to manufacturing sector. I refused this offer as I had no inclination to go to marketing side after doing CA. Later on, Mr. Santanam learned about my joining BOI. About my joining BOI, he told my uncle, why is he wasting his time there? Obviously, he was unhappy. By sheer coincidence, Mr. V.G. Santanam, son of Mr. T.S. Santanam, became a director of our bank in late 90s, and I told him the story. My uncle did not relent in his efforts. He never blamed me or questioned my decisions. He asked me to go and meet Mr. Lakshman, who was the chairman of a well-known company in the automobile manufacturing sector. I asked to meet him at his house in the evening. I still remember the scene. It was an independent bungalow. Mr. Lakshman was sitting on the parapet wall of the veranda. I was standing before him. After some preliminary questions, he asked me, "What would you like to become in my company?" I replied, "I would like to become ultimately the director of finance." Next day, my uncle told me that Lakshman had called him and told him, "Your nephew is arrogant. I would not like to take him." I was puzzled. Maybe there was a communication gap. Perhaps he thought I wanted to start as a director of finance. Later on, after 12 years, when I was manager of Cathedral Road branch, I found out that the head office of Mr. Lakshman's company was very close to my branch. I requested my uncle to take me to Mr. Lakshman's office to get some business. By then, my uncle had retired from Wheels India Limited, but he continued to be a well-respected person in the automobile industry. He came with me one morning and we met Mr. Lakshman. He did not remember interviewing me. I also did not mention. He gave us coffee. No, he did not give any business, but nothing wrong in trying. Lessons I learned. First, never tell a lie during the interview. When a specific question is asked, state the facts. Second, make it clear during the interview what you expect immediately and what is your ambition. Tailpiece, it is always a problem to choose the right dress for the interview. I read a good advice in an article. Never wear a brand new dress. You will be conscious of the dress and would not be able to focus on the interview. Wear a clean, comfortable dress. You have a future in the star. P.R. Venkatachalam had a close relative in Bank of India. His name was P. N. Venkatraman. He was a very senior officer. He started his banking career with Indian Overseas Bank and then moved over to Bank of India. He was designated as Public Relations Officer. In those days, PRO did not do ticket booking or receiving dignitaries at the airport. He was a deposit mobilization officer, a person with a lot of contacts. PNV's son V. Ramnarayan was a cricket player and had played for Hyderabad. A versatile person, Ramnarayan is also now the editor of Shruti, a magazine dedicated to classical arts like Carnatic music, Bharatanatyam, etc. He had also penned a couple of books on cricket. Another son of PNV is Shiva Ramakrishnan, who played for Tamil Nadu. PNV advised Venkat to apply for a job in Bank of India. He said there might not be any advertisements. We should directly send an application. I had noticed the advertisements of Bank of India with the eye-catching slogan, "You have a future" in the start. I liked the slogan very much. It conveyed a ray of hope. I had also seen from outside the Mount Road branch of Bank of India, which I think was opened during early 60s. It had the appearance like a foreign bank. Let me also remind the readers that the bank was in the private sector. In fact, it was Bank of India Limited. We sent a letter to the head office of POI. Within a few days, we received a printed application form to be completed. We did that immediately. One of the columns was expected remuneration. I put a figure of rupees 600. At that time, the salary for a new qualified chartered accountant at Chennai was rupees 450. We got a quick response. We were asked to appear for an interview at Chennai. Bank of India's main branch, as well as the regional office, was situated at 10 Armenian Street in Paris Corner. We appeared for the interview. The interview panel consisted of Mr. K.P. Shah, Mr. B.V. Sonalkar, and Mr. Ramachandra Murthy. Mr. K.P. Shah was the manager of Madras Bank as well as the regional manager in charge of branches in Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Kerala, and Karnataka. There were not many branches in those days, no rural branches. The total number of the branches of the bank as a whole was only about 158 in India and 16 in foreign countries. Mr. B.V. Sonalkar was a sub-manager of Madras branch. Virtually, he was in charge of the branch. Mr. Sonalkar later on became the chairman of Central Bank of India. Mr. Ramchandra Murthy was the superintendent of southern branches. In other words, he was in charge of the regional office, supporting to Mr. K.P. Shah. Mr. Ramachandra Murthy was earlier working with Andhra Bank as general manager. He was a very learned man and he wanted to work in a big bank and resigned from Andhra Bank and joined Bank of India. A very soft spoken person. If I remember right, he retired as manager of Mount Road branch. The interview was quite smooth. Mr. Sonalkar asked me how much salary I expected. I told him that I expected rupees 750. He immediately commented with a smile, "Has the cost of living gone up so much within 2 months? You had mentioned rupees 600 in your application." Learning from my Hindustan liver experience, I told him the truth. After applying, I came to know that the starting salary for a chartered accountant in BOI is rupees 750. That is why I have mentioned a higher figure. A few days later, both Venkatachalam and I received a call for the second interview at Bombay. I was quite excited. That was my first visit to Bombay. Both of us boarded the Bombay mail from Chennai. The bank had written that they would reimburse first class fare. It was a memorable journey. My uncle, mother's sister's husband, received me at the Dadar station and took me to his complex at Chembur. For the first time, I saw what was meant by shawl. His portion consisted of one large room and a kitchen. Bathrooms and toilets were common for about 10 tenants. Having lived all along in more spacious houses in the south, it was a revelation to me, but no one was complaining. My uncle took me by bus and dropped near the Bank of India head office at 70 to 80 Mahatma Gandhi Road. When I saw the big stone building, I just fell in love with the bank. I sincerely wished I could join the bank. Even today, when I see that building, I feel very proud. But I never got an opportunity to work in that building. The interview was scheduled in the evening around 4 p.m. or so. When I was directed towards the boardroom, I saw a familiar figure standing with a list of candidates. That was Mr. E. Balakrishnan. He was my senior at Loyola College in Chennai. I had seen him many times at the college but did not know him personally. He had a charming personality. Little did I know that we were meant to become very good friends and we were to get promoted as general managers in the same year, same batch. He was in full suit. He started calling the candidates one by one. He would escort them to the boardroom where the panel was sitting. While waiting for my name to be announced, I remembered that I had mentioned public speaking as my extracurricular activity, so I thought I should be prepared to talk on any subject. To be on the safe side, I prepared my points on women's education. As long last my turn came, I was ushered in. It was a big boardroom. There were half a dozen executives sitting on one side. I only knew that the general manager, Mr. Kansara, was there. All were in full suit, enough to unnerve a young man of 24 years. They greeted me pleasantly and asked me to take my seat opposite to them. I sat down a little nervously, but there were no tough questions. Then one of them asked me, "You have mentioned that public speaking is your extracurricular activity. Can you talk for us for 3 minutes on a topic of your choice?" I enthusiastically said, "Yes, sir." I told him that I would talk about the importance of women's education. They said, "Go ahead." I shot off straight away. After a couple of minutes, they said that was enough. The interview was over. I came out as a relieved person. My uncle took me around Bombay for the next 2 days. Then I boarded the famous Dadar Express and reached Chennai. Within a month, Venkatachalam and I received the appointment letters. I was posted to Madras main branch and Venkatachalam was posted to Saukarpet branch. He got a posting at Saukarpet because his relative, Mr. P. N. Venkatraman, was working at main branch. I was asked to report on 15th February 1966. I had one personal problem. My father, who was in Chennai, was transferred to Vellore. We had to vacate the house. It was decided that initially I would stay with my uncle, Mr. B.R. Shivaraman, and then look for a small portion. In those days, flat system was not prevalent. One should go for an independent house or for a small self-contained portion of a house. I moved to my uncle's house. He had two sons. The first one was my namesake, Miss S. Ramakrishnan. At home, he was called Ramesan and was working with Sundaram Finance Limited. His younger brother, Subramanian Mani, was also working with another TVS company. Mani was acting as a comedian in Tamil stage plays. Had he continued, he would have become a great actor. Ramasan could be called as a man of Friday. You could assign him any job. He would finish it successfully. I had a gala time with both my cousins. Post dinner, both of them would narrate their interesting moments in the office with wonderful mimicry. Lessons I learned: anticipate questions based on what you have written in the application. Prepare the answer in advance. Tailpiece, an old joke revisited. There was an interview for the post of director of finance in a company. Three were shortlisted. One was an experienced commerce graduate. Next one was a newly qualified MBA finance. The third one was a chartered accountant. The panel asked a simple question: what is 8 multiplied by 8? The commerce graduate replied spontaneously, 64. The MBA took out his calculator and worked out and said 64. The chartered accountant asked in a whisper what answer you would like to have. Needless to say, the chartered accountant was selected. P.S. I am referring to Chennai and Mumbai by their old names to capture the mood of the period I'm covering. This chapter is a repetition of what I had written earlier on completion of 50 years of joining the bank. I am including this for the sake of continuity in narration. I have also done some editing. All those who have read this earlier may skip it. The first week in the bank, 15 February 1966, Tuesday. Dressed immaculately in white pant and white shirt with sparkling tie, I stepped into Bank of India, Madras branch at 10 Armenian Street. Slightly nervous, but with the excitement of working in one of the best private banks of the country and with an ambition in mind, I reported to Mr. A.K. Raghavan, the accountant of Madras Bank. Mr. Raghavan, popularly known as AKR, looked at me and went through the appointment letter. I was taken as a grade 1 direct recruit officer because of my qualification as a chartered accountant. Normally, first class graduates would be appointed in grade 2 and then they would be promoted to grade 1 in due course. Then he looked around for a free table. Luckily, a big table next to him was unoccupied. He told me to sit there temporarily. Then he called a sub-staff and told him to bring a current account ledger. He arranged for some blank statement of account sheets and told me to copy the ledger entries account by account in those sheets. I started this copy writing earnestly. At that time, I had no idea that this was a clerical job. I was expecting to be taken around and introduced to all the staff members. No, nothing of the sort happened. On top of it, there was no friendly look or greeting from anyone. Only one exception, Mr. P.S. Narayan, president Officers Association came and introduced himself. There was a reason behind this. He hailed from a town called Periakulam near Madurai. From my application, he had found out that I studied in Periakulam for 2 days. That created a bond between us. I learned later that the officers were not happy about direct recruitment in grade 1, so there was a sort of mild boycott of newly appointed grade 1 officers. Unfortunately, I was the only officer who joined that day. After some time, I looked around and tried to locate the washroom, but failed in my attempt. I got up and asked the substaff. He just showed his hand vaguely in some direction, which was not helpful. With great difficulty, I located the washrooms, which were in a dark side lane off the main hall of the bank. Around 2 p.m., I saw many going out for lunch. I also went out alone to one Krishna lunch home nearby and had my lunch there. I returned and continued my statement writing. By about 4:30 p.m., Mr. AKR called me. There was one young lady officer called Sita Verma standing before him and was complaining something. Later, I learned that she was a direct recruit in grade 2 and was the wife of an IAS officer. It appeared the clerk who used to help her in checking the day's entries in the ledger was absent. In those days, there was a system of entering all the vouchers, checks, etc., pertaining to a ledger in a supplementary cash book. From this book, the clerk would call out the entries and the officer would check relevant ledger accounts to see whether they were correctly posted. AKR told me to assist her, so I sat with her and called out from supplementary. She had the ledger with her. At that time, I did not know that it was a clerical job or that she was a junior to me. PS Narayan was watching me calling out the entries. This work was over by 5:30. I went to Sri AKR and told him that I had finished the job assigned to me. I was eager to go home early, but he asked me to go to advances department and sit with them and help them. Mr. M.S. Saumanarayan Swamy was in the advances department. He told me to go through some files and write routine reminders. I found the staff chatting and cracking jokes. AKR left at around 7:30 p.m. At about 8 p.m., I asked Swami whether I could leave. He said I could. I did not know at that time that Swami was also junior to me. Same routine followed during the same day. Mr. Narayan came to me and told me that I should not call out the supplementary to Sita Verma as she was very junior to me. Besides, it was a clerical job. In the evening, Sita Verma came to me and directly asked me to call out the supplementary. I told her that I was not supposed to do that and it was not an officer's job. With a face red with anger, she went to AKR and complained. AKR called me. Before I could say anything, Mr. Narayan came and told AKR Mr. Ramakrishnan is a grade 1 officer. How can he call out the supplementary to a grade 2 officer? It is not correct. AKR told me to go back to my seat. That day also I stayed with the advances department in the evening till about 8 p.m. Next day, a new problem arose. Mr. P. N. Venkatraman, who was the occupant of the vacant table, came back from leave. I had no place to sit. I went to AKR. He asked the substaff, let us call him R to find out whether there was any vacant table. He came back and informed that one table was vacant in the foreign exchange department. There was an annexure to the main banking hall with 2 rooms. One was occupied by dispatch department and stationery, another was occupied by foreign exchange and cash book departments. AKR asked R to show me the seat, which he did. Shock 1. I requested R to bring me the ledger. He gave a reply which I remember verbatim even today. Translation of what he told me in Tamil was, look here, accountant told me to show you the seat. I have shown the seat. My job is over. Bringing the ledger is not my job. He walked away. I just could not believe what I had heard. I went to AKR and told him what had happened. Shock 2. I thought AKR would take R to task. Instead, he called him, patted him on the back, and told him very softly, please carry the ledger to Ramakrishnan's table. This time, R obliged. I could not understand this type of behavior on the part of both R and AKR. I looked around. The foreign exchange department was just like a fish market. Everyone was talking in loud voice. This was not the office I imagined. As usual, no one took cognizance of my presence except Sita Verma, who was in charge of cash book. She gave a half-hearted smile. Late, Mr. Ranganathan was heading the forex department. I felt I should seriously think about continuing in the bank in such an unfriendly and noisy atmosphere. Shock 3. It was Friday, 18 February. I continued in the same seat writing statements of accounts. Around 4 p.m., I saw 2 waiters from a hotel entering with 2 big trays containing peach melba. popular fruit salad in Chennai those days. I was a little embarrassed. Should I refuse when it was offered to me? Since no one was talking to me, I did not feel like accepting the hospitality. I also did not know the occasion called for a celebration. I came to know later that it was a practice to order a dessert as a weekend celebration by the forex and cash book departments. The waiters started serving the peach melba. Everybody in the hall, including those in cash book department, had a ball in front of them. No one offered me. I was just ignored. I felt hurt. I was just like a piece of furniture as far as others were concerned. I thought, how come no courtesy was shown to a newcomer? Even if an enemy comes up to your house, you would extend normal courtesies. I felt this was inhuman. I made up my mind to quit the bank, but still I thought I should not do anything in haste. I should wait till the end of the month. I went home that day as a sad person. Acknowledgement. I'm grateful to the editor Tarangan for giving me permission to reproduce what I had written in the House magazine. Of course, this is not a verbatim repetition. Tailpiece, there was a theatre called New Elphinstone at Round Tana in Mount Road. Good English movies were used to be screened at this theatre. Later on, the award-winning Malayalam film Chimene was screened in the front portion of the theatre. There was an ice cream parlor called Jaffer's. The famous item there was the peach melba. It was very difficult to get a table at this joint. Today, there is no New Elphinstone. It has become a shopping complex. Late Jeffers disappeared into a lane nearby. I do not know whether it is still there, but I cannot forget the taste of peach melba I used to have there. The chapter A Banking Journey Begins is continuing. Thank you very much for your patience. Please like and share this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.